I'm Harrison Graham. Here's what we got coming up on Chicago Bears Now. We heard from Caleb Williams today as he sounded off on a lot of topics after today's light practice at training camp. There is a new injury to discuss, although I don't think it's too serious, but worth discussing. And Dennis Allen talked about a specific position battle that I think is worth keeping an eye on as we progress throughout training camp. Quick just reaction to today's practice. I had a long meeting this morning, so I put out a different video, but it kind of worked out because they were in shells today after 2 days of hard-hitting padded practice, so they kind of scaled it back, shorter practice. Some guys weren't out there and did kind of more of just like a situational red zone drills practice. Not a lot to take away from, to be honest. I would say my top takeaway was Luther Burden got involved a lot, caught a couple touchdowns, caught one in the back of the end zone that there was some debate on whether he got his 2 feet in or not, but apparently rose the ladder and made a nice play. So good to see him get more and more involved here. They're going to go back with the pads tomorrow and then the off day on Friday before practice again on Saturday. So I think that's a good plan. 2 days of padded practice, scale it back a bit, and then ramp back up tomorrow for intense practice before the off day on Friday. So that is what happened out there today, but a lot of the stuff we'll react to here was after practice and what Caleb and Dennis Allen said. So let's start with Caleb here. A couple different topics he hit on. He said just kind of some thoughts on entering his second season. He said, this year for me, it's trying to take a step up in my leadership role and pushing the guys. Part of it is going out there, being right, doing everything right, getting the play calls in fast, being out there, being confident, knowing what I'm doing. The other half is when things are messing up, let's rehuddle, get up, come on, let's get this thing going. In 2 minutes, encouraging the guys. It's fourth quarter. I know we're in practice. It's a hot day, but it's fourth quarter in a game. It's time to go win, so let's go win this game. And he just feels more comfortable in terms of taking on a leadership role. You know, last year he was asked right after he drafted, like, what are you like as a leader? And he's like, yeah, as a rookie, I think you got to be a listener first and kind of feel your own way. But this offseason, every time he talks, you just feel a little more confidence coming off out of Caleb Williams' mouth and just his overall demeanor. So I think that's natural. Year 2 as a quarterback in the NFL, as the QB, you need to be at least a leader on the team. You don't necessarily have to be the top leader, but sounds like he's taken on that role this year, and that's certainly a positive because when things go haywire, when the game's on the line, everybody's looking at you. If you're the quarterback. So he certainly needs to be comfortable doing that, and it sounds like he is putting a lot of emphasis on being that guy. Caleb also was asked, what could you carry over from last year? What's different this year? And he said, every year is going to be a start, fresh year in that sense, but with Ben, him and I are going to be here for a while. Love that confidence. That's the plan. There's going to be carryover from now on. Yeah, it's different. It's a whole new playbook, different terminology, different reads, different footwork, different things like that. It's a lot, and it's still always going to be a lot. That's part of playing this position, so being able to go out there and handle it is what we get paid to do. It's our job. And, I think he's kind of saying, like, yeah, everything's new footwork, new terminology, new coach, new offense, and there's always going to be new things to learn, to build upon, even if, Ben and I are both here for a long time, which is the plan. But I think he kind of emphasized that, like, yeah, we're going to be here for a while. So if this gels, if this works, like, it's going to grow and you're going to be able to build that continuity. So I think that's the intent, right? When you brought in Ben Johnson, the whole point of it was, hey, we got this number 1 pick at quarterback, got to get him going, but also we want this partnership to build, to grow, to last long term. So obviously they're in the very early stages of that still. They're in their first training camp together, but I think both sides recognize that, if Caleb flames out, Ben would probably get another shot. But for Caleb, if he's going to work out in Chicago, like, it's him and Ben Johnson together. Like, that's how it's going to be. So, and it seems like that relationship is growing, and Caleb's taking this new offense on head on, full steam ahead. Some other tidbits from Caleb that he talked about today. Said he's feeling comfortable under center. Obviously, they're doing a lot more of that play action stuff, which was a lot of what Jared Goff did in Detroit over the last couple of years. Feels like he's doing well with the pre- and post-snap process, getting everybody lined up, understanding what's going on with the motions and the play calls and any audibles that need to take place. And then obviously on top or after that is getting the playoff and going through your progressions post-snap that the quarterbacks always talk about. And then he also made a comment, too, about Colson Love and just say, hey, I know I can just throw it up. He's got a good chance to make the play. So it seems like he's already got that trust built in there, and it sounds like Colson's had a lot of good days. That shoulder's holding up through the first couple of padded practices. Says he feels good, so that's good. And if Colson Loveland can be a playmaker right away, I mean, that just gives this offense a lot of different looks, a lot of different toys to play with, and get the ball to when this season gets going. All right, subscribe and join us tomorrow as well. We'll be back on our normal morning practice reaction video tomorrow morning. Pads will be back on, so a lot more to take away from that. And then we'll have our weekly Thursday live show every Thursday, 4 o'clock Central Time. So lock us in for that. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. Never miss an episode of Chicago Bears Now. Okay, Jonah Jackson. Unclear what the injury is. They're just calling it a leg injury, saying they're day-to-day. Now, under Matt Eberflus, day-to-day seem to become week-to-week, but so far when they say day-to-day, that's what it means. They called Luther Burden day-to-day. He was back out there by day 5. Doug Kramer was day-to-day. I think he missed 2 practices. So if based on other injuries that have been labeled day-to-day so far, that is what it's been. So maybe they sit him tomorrow, off day Friday. He's back Saturday. I could see that being the case. So we'll see if he's out there tomorrow. The only reason it is at least something is because, which we'll get to in a second, Braxton Jones had a scheduled rest day. So they would have labeled this a rest day, I think, if that's all this was. But that being said, doesn't feel that serious, but it's one to monitor because he had the clavicle injury last year. His last 2 years in Detroit, missed 3 and 4 games. So, he's been mostly a healthy player in his career, but he's had little dings, and last year he had a fairly notable injury. So certainly not a guy like Joe Thuney, who I think's missed 2 games in his 10-year career. Jackson has missed some time, and we've talked about this too. As good as we feel about those 3 interior guys, the depth is a concern because I like Ryan Bates. He can play center. He can play guard. He started a decent amount in this league with Buffalo a couple games last year when he was healthy. But is he healthy? What is that shoulder? Now, so far he's held up, clearly, but does that shoulder stay upright? Can he get through the rigors of a season? Because if you lose one of your guards and he has to play, you feel pretty good about that because he can play at a serviceable starting level, Ryan Bates has, because that's what he's been when he has played. But if he were to go down, if he were injured, who's your next guy? Is it Luke Newman, the rookie 6th rounder? Is it Bill Murray, who's dinged up right now, coming off an injury last year as well? Doug Kramer, more of a center, not really a guard. So I do wonder as camp goes on, depending on where they're at health-wise on that interior offensive line, if that is a position they could look to add a piece to at least provide some depth. So something I'm going to be monitoring for sure. Are you guys concerned about the O-line depth when it comes to the Bears? You feel pretty good at tackle because Darnell Wright's your starter at right tackle. Whoever wins the left tackle job, you got the next 2 guys too. Let's say Braxton Jones wins the job. Well, you still have Ozzie Trapillo and Karan Amagaji. So I think you'd feel good about that. Maybe Amagaji, which I've mentioned before, is a candidate to kick inside, especially if he's the 3rd of those 3 guys competing at left tackle. So that could be an option to beef up your interior depth. But let me know if you're concerned, Y for yes or N for no. Get yourself a Bears short sleeve cutoff hoodie at chatsports.com/Bears hoodie. Still got a few left. 40% off. They were $55 bones. Now they're $33. Absolute steal. Links in the comments and description. Rock this bad boy today. I mentioned a second ago, Braxton Jones scheduled rest day. So while he's been working his way back and has been participating in pads and team drills, they're clearly still kind of scheduling these little days where, okay, did have a major ankle surgery. Let's not overdo it early on in camp. Let's find spots where we can take days off. Today makes sense because it was a lighter practice. Let's just give him the day off, go hard tomorrow, then off day on Friday. So, over a 3-day period, he only practices once. That's good kind of health management there from the Bears and their medical staff. Other injuries / did not practice. Shamar Turner, we know he's dealing with that ankle. Again, still don't know what's going on with Zay Frazier. They labeled it a personal issue early on in training camp. He's been gone over a week now, so not sure what it is. But until they tell us what it is, not going to over-speculate there. Bill Murray, not sure how serious his injury is. Limped off a couple of practices ago. Did not practice yesterday or today, so we'll see if he's out there tomorrow. Ricky Stromberg is a new one. Remember him coming out of Arkansas a few years ago. He's in the mix there at center as well behind Drew Dahlman, so he did not practice either. So we'll see if we get some clarity on a couple of those injuries tomorrow. Okay, Dennis Allen spoke to the media for the second time since training camp started, and a competition that he basically said is a competition is that second outside corner spot. He said that second outside corner job is completely up for grabs. Direct quote, completely up for grabs. And it would appear that it's between these three guys: Tyreek Stevenson, the incumbent; Nan Wright, who's been turning heads since OTAs; and Terrell Smith, who's obviously been kind of a part-time starter, top backup for a couple of years as well. Most people believe it's between Reek and Wright, that Nan Wright and Tyreek Stevenson are ahead of Terrell Smith at this point in time. Dennis Allen mentioned Nan Wright specifically when talking about players who have improved in his eyes. Now, does that mean he's the front runner for that job? I would still probably guess/say that it is Tyreek Stevenson, but Nan Wright's been working with the ones with Jaylon Johnson out, so a lot of the time. So it's been him, Tyreek Stevenson, and Kyler Gordon, with Terrell Smith mixing in there as well. So certainly early on in this process, got joint practice coming up next week. That could be telling to see who gets the initial crack at that. It could be one of those things where it's actually nice that Jaylon's missing a little time, though, because you can get extra reps with the ones, because both guys playing on the outside, well, only one of them is going to be a starter, because once Jaylon's back, he's obviously going to start. So Nan Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, Terrell Smith, all getting a lot of opportunities. And, you know, you think about a guy like Zay Frazier who's missed camp, and again, we don't know why. I think he's out of the mix at this point. Like, even if he came back, like, I think you have to look at this as, you know, developmental backup, redshirt type of year for him, whereas otherwise maybe he would have been in that mix. So definitely curious about this, because it's an important position. You're going to be on an island a lot, playing outside corner in Dennis Allen's defense, press man scheme, which I think fits Tyreek Stevenson's skill set, but it also fits Nan Wright, who's 6'4", 200 pounds. So we'll see who emerges there at this point in time. I would guess this is the pecking order right now: Tyreek Stevenson, Nan Wright, Terrell Smith. Who do you guys think ends up being that second corner? If you think it's Tyreek, type 1. Think it's Nan Wright, type 2. Think it's Terrell Smith, type 3. I'm going to stick with Tyreek Stevenson, but this is a healthy competition, clearly, at this point in time. All right, guys, appreciate everybody for making it to the end of the video. If you did make it this far, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell either. That way you're always notified when we go live and publish content. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll have a video up in the morning after practice. Then we'll go live tomorrow afternoon. See you then.